Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. I have on my interview today, this afternoon for her, and she's all the way in New York, electronic artist and dark wave artist, Sapphira Vee, and always a beautiful name when I think of Sapphira Vee. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I do, the first time I heard that, I go, she must like the color blue. True blue.
Yeah, we were chatting earlier. Sapphira is actually my Hebrew name. It's not my birth name, but it's the name I decided to do music with because it's a lot more interesting than my birth name.
I mean, there
Yeah,
must,
that's and it does mean sapphire in Hebrew.
yeah. But it's so unique. There's not that many people that's called Sapphira V. Sapphira, just the whole name.
Yeah,
It's
you would think that Sapphira is pretty unique, but when you call yourself Sapphira and then find out how many other artists are named Sapphira, which is why I put the V at the end of it because years ago, I started releasing stuff just as Sapphira, and there were other Saphiras out there. One in particular was doing some really good work, and she had done a single in memory of Keith Flint because she suffers from, some mental illness herself. And um, I didn't want, and she contacted me and she's like, can you change your name? And like, rather than giving her attitude about it, I wanted her to, succeed in what she was doing. So I was so early on with what I was doing. I gladly changed my name and added the V at the end. And,
oh
we've remained friends ever since. So
oh yeah, that's a really
organic.
nice gesture. Some people they just
Yeah.
take it like, oh my God, no way.
Yeah, I know. Life's too short to be a dick, you know?
No,
So
yeah, no, that's great. That just shows, the
yeah.
quality and the integrity that you have, that's starting out, I mean, it's humble, right? It's humbling to think for
Yeah,
people to
thank
come
you.
out and
I
actually do
appreciate
that.
that.
One of the things I really, really like, you're so motivated. And I wanted to start out just by, for those people that may not know, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about how you started out in music? And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure
So
you probably said this many, many times.
oh, no, that's okay. I love telling stories and talking and things, so I'll tell the story over and over. So so I really started back in the '90s, um, and was doing, electronic music, locally. I was in few different bands,
Hmm.
one in particular where it was just me and one, bandmate, and, we played out a lot, in upstate New York, and, we, I almost don't wanna say this, but we actually did release a CD, but I don't want anyone to hear it because 'cause I'm not sure if it's that good. But anyways, so we did all that and that was fantastic. And then I got, married and started having kids, and I immediately actually had my first daughter. And I just between working full time and the kids just got too busy really to do music the way I wanted to. Thinking back now, I probably could have kept doing it, but things were a lot different in the '90s. We don't have a lot of the conveniences. We didn't have a lot of the conveniences with the internet
Yeah.
back then that we have now. So it was too much. So came I came sort of back to it. I'm gonna say 2018, late 2018.
Yeah. Well, you know,
My kids were kind of at an age where they were starting to do their own thing with their own friends and kinda having their own lives, and they didn't need me as much. So, mom needed something to do.
mhm.
So I got back into music.
Well,
Um,
kids, right? Especially when you have your own child. I mean, they're a priority, especially during that time. I mean,
oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad you did that because you focus on them.
Yeah.
Because it's
Well, yeah,
especially in that early state. That early stage
yeah.
for childhood. A child they need like the mother's parental
Mhm.
guidance.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that people who actually trudged on with kids didn't do a great job with their kids too. It just wasn't something with my situation, and my partner at the time and my job that I was able to do. But, I give anyone credit for trudging through those times and continuing to release music because, it's a very big commitment.
I know.
And one that one it's been like the most gratifying, of my life, being a parent. So I don't regret any of it. And I'm having fun these days with it because they're both on my new album, both my daughters.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they got unique names, right?
Well, yeah, they do. They do. There So the names that appear on the album aren't their birth names either, but
Okay.
we kind of played around with them to sort of give them stage names. So my older daughter, whose name is Tori, her Hebrew name is Chava, and she is the Chava Sanberg who appears on the very first track, doing a beautiful Hebrew
Ah,
chant for
okay.
the intro track, Bereshit. And
Shaba, right? Shaba?
right, yeah,
Okay.
Chava, right,
Is that how you
Chava.
pronounce it?
You
Okay.
gotta get that
Yeah.
in there, but I know it's not
Yeah, yeah.
easy for everyone. But yeah, so that was a beautiful
Oh,
chant that she actually did, when she bat mitzvahed.
oh, that's what I heard.
And it
Okay.
means yeah, it means in the beginning. It literally means in the beginning. It's the first,
And it's the
verse
first track.
of Torah, which is the Old Testament. And so I thought it was a good name for the intro track, and I'm like, "Well, if I'm gonna name it Bereshit, I might as well have Tori chant." So that's Chava Sanberg. She also appears on Be One of Us. It's the new compilation from Distortion Productions that are covers of the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And Tori is also a very talented, saxophone player. So I do a track called Power Play, and she plays saxophone, and I've got background vocals with, Jim Marcus and Jane Jensen on that track too. Just thought I'd give that a plug, but
Oh,
yeah,
no.
and then my
Very
other daughter,
exciting.
known as, Veronica Tam, and her name actually is Veronica. We call her Nika, but her name actually is Veronica. She, is a joy thief because she showed up on, the 6 to 9, um, am I saying that right? Yeah. Um, uh single that we did with the Joy Thieves, to benefit women's reproductive health. And
Mhm.
she did a little spoken word in the beginning. She also showed up on my Aerial Human album in the intro track. She did the spoken word on that, but she's actually a really fantastic vocalist. So on the track called Stand Together, she's the one that does all the beautiful ahs in the background.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I actually feature that song, Hope's Reflection, not
Yeah.
knowing it's your daughter, because I like the track. I actually featured it on my show today.
Hope's Reflection is actually a different track, I'm gonna rewind here for a second. It was 6 to 3, the Joy Thief song. It was I don't know why I can't remember these numbers, but, it was the ruling that basically killed Roe v. Wade, 6 to 3.
Oh,
So, anyways, yeah, so Hope's Reflection is a different song on Fortune, and that song is sort of my, suicide prevention song.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's
It's
Veronica's it's on that track, right?
She's on Stand Together,
Oh, okay.
which is my, "Hey, folks, this country's in a whole lot of hurt right now, and if we don't stand together, as women, as LGBTQ folks,
Mhm.
and any population that's in danger right now, um, we're gonna be in a lot more hurt." So, yeah, that's the track that she's on,
Oh, okay.
Stand Together.
Speaking of women,
There's gonna be a quiz at the end here, just so you know. I'm throwing a lot of information at you.
you know what I really like is your quote there that you have supporting women in music, which I think is
Oh,
really
yeah.
yeah, that really I said, wow, that's because women I can't say so a lot of them do, but some don't. And it's
Mhm.
just I think it's just good to especially during these times, right? We
Yeah.
really support, yeah, in every way, not just music, but in every way. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. My day job, the job where I make my money, which, unfortunately isn't a whole I don't make a whole lot of money doing music these days, um, is in IT. And, so I am a woman in STEM, and really so is my,
Mm.
oldest daughter, and, I feel a real passion to support other women in STEM because we are really women in a men's world. When you work in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, which is what STEM stands for, you are absolutely in the minority. And there are times when men often respect other men simply because they're men, and women in those situations typically need to work twice as hard to get the same respect and get the
And,
same recognition.
and
And I'm not saying that's the case
mhm.
all the time. And there's some perfectly wonderful men out there
Yeah.
who respect the person for what they're able to do, regardless of their sex. But it's a problem. And so I've recognized that both in my STEM life and in my artistic life, my creative life. And so, I try and do whatever I can do, to support other women, because honestly, if if just one of us succeeds because a whole bunch of us were behind her, then we all sort of win. So that's how I see it.
Absolutely.
I don't see it
Absolutely.
as a competition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I see it as, if you win because I helped you, then that's a win for me too, you know?
Yeah.
So
And you did that with the artist who had such a similar name. I mean,
mhm,
you kind of said, well, we'll do whatever, to make it work.
yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of gathering remixes from women and LGBTQ folks for Stand Together. So I'll have a single coming out probably in a couple months. Um, and all the remixers will be either women or
Of course,
LGBTQ.
stand together. Okay.
Yeah, Stand Together, yeah. So, and again, this is to represent a group that doesn't necessarily get the exposure always that they deserve. So, I wanna represent, these groups of folks, and, that's why I'm asking, remixers for remixers. So, that's coming up, and there will also be an official video that goes with that. So
So, going back to, I know this was just released in September. It's called What It Was, and there's all these different artists remixing that. I know we know. I
yeah.
just mentioned like there's three of them I know here. Could be more. Well, Alia is one of them. I,
Mhm.
since Synesthesia, and
Yep.
she's been to Hawaii. She has an amazing voice.
She's an incredible talent, and not just as a remixer, but everything she does.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah.
is an incredibly talented woman. Being the live vocalist for Attrition and, doing the scoring that she does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I really respect her.
Yeah, and then there's Jean-Marc Lederman, of course,
Yep.
who's just amazing, and he's been I think I interviewed him twice.
Yeah.
Nice guy, super super
He
funny.
he is, and he was also on my last album, Aerial Human.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
he did the intro track that Veronica, does the spoken word on, and he, did the music for the track called Those Words on
Right, right.
Fortune.
On Fortune, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Fortune, that's your latest release, right?
Yep.
On Distortion Productions.
Distortion Productions,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I love the title. So why did you come up with White Fortune? I'm first of all, I love it. I love that you said fortune. It's just a
Yeah.
good thing.
So yeah, fortune is one of those words
Mm,
that can be taken numerous ways, right? So you can think of fortune as so a great sum of money, maybe. I've made my fortune in oil or whatever, the way people use it that way. But it could also mean your future, like a fortune teller, tell me
right,
my
right,
fortune.
right. Yep.
So I kind of wanted to play around with that. My original working title was Hope's Reflection. I was going to name the album after that track, but I decided to kind of play around with it a little bit because Hope's Reflection really is a song about hope, right? It's the it's uh, it's about hanging on for just one more day when you feel like ending it. right? So it's a song about suicide prevention, and just seeing that little teeny tiny beam of light come through the darkness, you know. And so I kind of wanted to play around with that thought of hope. And for some reason, the word fortune kind of popped up in my head, and I just, I kind of went with it as the album title.
One of the, if you Google your name, you're gonna see a lot of videos. So I know you make a lot of videos, right? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of symbolism in the videos. I know you
Yeah.
find some way to put a video together. Do you create your own videos, your own ideas and stuff, and putting
I,
it?
I I don't. I've used various people to put the videos together. Um for World My Voice, I did want that to be sort of a little bit of a story. Because the song really is about just having a voice, you know. Um and so in that video, the story is there's this woman, she's kind of collecting all this stuff that she's going to sacrifice to this tree tree god, or whatever you want to call it, some sort of entity, and in hopes of gaining a voice, in hopes of being heard. So she's sacrificing for something, for some reason, but she wants to be heard. And it was just kind of a fun. We did it in black and white. It's just kind of a fun gothy thing, and that was filmed by actually my daughter Tori's partner AJ Bonacci, who was a film student at the Rochester Institute of Technology. So
Mhm.
that was a lot of fun, and it was filmed at this you'll see like this big stone wall in the background ground in some of the scenes. So that is the legendary White Lady Castle in Durand Eastman Park in Rochester. And so there's this whole urban legend about who the White Lady was. And she was
Mm.
the mother of a teenage girl who lost her daughter, and she wanders the park in this white gown, and supposedly that was her castle. Well, it really wasn't. It was actually, I think it was like a button factory or something back in the day. But, it was just fun doing the video at that site. And, again, it kind of has that gothy vibe and everything. But, after that, I started working a little bit more with Jim Marcus. And so he's done the
Mm.
past couple of videos. Oh, actually, I should mention Metamorph. Joel Lopez from Lumber Productions filmed Metamorph, and that was a lot of fun. We filmed that in Chicago in various parks, and he did such a wonderful job. He does a lot of work for like Ayatoya
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
Joy Thieves, and
Mm.
I think he just did one for Derision Cult. So he's fantastic videographer. He actually used, for one scene, he actually used a drone overhead, and filmed us kind of walking in this infinity pattern. So yeah, that I should definitely mention that. But yeah, after that, I started having Jim do some videos. So he did What It Was. He did What Is This, and he will also be working on the Stand Together video. We do already have a video for that we use live. That will be similar to the official video, but not quite the same. And he did a really wonderful job of throwing some really poignant phrases at the end of the video.
Mm.
Things that we should be thinking about, climate change now and things like that. So I love having that video live because it really sends the message.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really looking forward to having the official video out, and that'll coincide with the single that I'm having all these wonderful people remix for me
Yeah.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's
um,
amazing.
and he's, he has a great creative mind, so I kind of let him roll with what he wants to do for Stand Together. I definitely had told him that I want, some scenes of like people protesting and things like that. I wanted to throw some emotion out there, and some urgency out there into the video, and he just kind of ran with that and did a absolutely wonderful job with it. So I'm excited to see what the official video looks like.
You are still gathering female vocalists, right, for this one, like remixes, right?
I think I have my remixers, but if
Okay.
because I've got a sort of a drop dead date of end of October, early November. I mean, if anyone else there out there was interested, that's my timeline. But if you
Oh,
are interested, let me know. It might be a little bit like by the time you broadcast this, it
I know.
might be a little
I think it'd be too late.
might be a little late.
I should
But
have done this an earlier
yeah,
interview, like way back when. But oh well.
yeah,
Well, next time.
yeah,
So do you have any rituals or routine that kind of helps you that kind of motivates you every day to want to get up and do some, do things, people have
yeah.
rituals and
Oh yeah. So during the week, well I work, but before I get ready for work, I work out every single Monday through Friday. Um, and I do some cardio, I do some hit, I do some Pilates, and that's like really important to me.
yeah.
Not from a vanity perspective, but from a mental health perspective. I always feel better when I've been working out. I love going for a run. I love the endorphins and the sort of me time that it represents. I walk every day, and that's also kind of me time for me, unless I'm walking with someone, and then it's social time, and that's okay too. But yeah, so that's a big thing for me is getting up and getting that workout in. I always feel so much better after I do that, and then I kind of do my job, and I'm hybrid, so I'm home some days and I'm in the office some days. But the thing that I always do when I come home is so I've got my work laptop and I've got my music laptop, and I do sort of the ceremonial changeover from the laptop to the music laptop, and then it's like my home office becomes my studio,
Yeah.
and then it's time to work on music. So that's kind of a ritualistic thing
Yeah.
that
I'm
I
just like
do.
you, so I totally get it because I have another job too, right? I
Mhm.
more time doing that. I have to balance the time, and
Yeah.
I totally get it. When you get up and you go, okay, I got to be somewhere.
Yep.
But then, but I also have this project that I'm working on. So when you come home, you're constantly working, right? So I totally get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's hard to juggle, especially with you. You have kids.
Yeah, well, and I will say they're older. They're
No.
17 and 21. So they do a lot for themselves, but they still want their mom
Oh
around
yeah, of course. You gotta
to do
dedicate
stuff.
and you don't have one, you got two. So you got those
Yeah.
besides your work, besides
They
your so it's amazing to know that to juggle all of these things it's not easy. No, trust me, I know exactly. Then you got social media. And I see all
Oh,
your
yeah.
social media, you're on okay, let me just let's go back and see which social media. I know you got a social media link tree.
Yeah, I do have a link tree. So yeah, I'm on
Um
Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I if I get like 59 or 58 more followers on TikTok, I can actually start going live because you can do that with 1,000 followers. So anyone out there who isn't following me on TikTok, please give me a follow because I'm really working hard to get to that point. I'd love to just like be able to go live here and there on TikTok.
well,
But
that's
um but anyways, I actually do have a Twitter account. I'm not a big fan of Twitter these days, but I do. And I go out there really only to there's some DJs and people that will still post when they've, played one of my songs or something. So I go out there to thank everybody. And I always thank everybody
no,
who
yeah, no,
supports me. So you're
yeah.
going to see a lot of that on Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram. You're going to see a lot of me thanking people who've playlisted me, DJs who've played me. Um, I
Thank you. I really appreciate artists that do that is just I thank you
yeah.
because sometimes they
Yeah.
don't, and that's I think it should be a two-way street, right? It should
Oh,
be
yeah. Oh, yeah,
reciprocal,
you should be promoting each other. So if someone's
right?
taken the time to promote you and play your music,
Absolutely.
you should be promoting them. And so that's sort of my thank yous are sort of a dual purpose. I'm thanking them, but I'm also, giving them some exposure as well. Hopefully, I am. And that kind of goes both ways with me because, being a radio co-host, I always appreciate when the artists that we play kind of give us a little love back too.
Right.
And it's definitely not something that it's not like we're not gonna play someone because they didn't, say thank you or repost us or whatever. that, that's their decision. We're still gonna play the artists that we love. But, I know how good it feels when you get that little bit of,
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be
thank you,
appreciated, yeah,
that
and acknowledged,
appreciation.
right? Yeah. See,
Yeah.
that's the thing, and I just recently got on TikTok.
Mhm.
I put that a while, aside for a while. I started doing it again, and I haven't really posted a lot of TikTok videos, but I will.
Yeah.
DJ Nocturne on TikTok. So anyway, I've had it for a while. I just never post anything, and I said, "Well, I just that short span thing is just like driving me crazy." People get short.
So
No,
I'm running into that. I tried to upload my entire What It Was video, which is 4 minutes long, and they keep muting it, even though there's an option for 10 minutes on there and that I click. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. I've been like, posting shorter versions of it. Really what you need to do these days to get recognized on TikTok is you need to shoot a video of you doing something really funny or stupid and just have your music in
I
the
know,
background so people that's how because that's what attracts the followers is when you have like just when you're just doing dumb things,
I know, yeah,
like
I know.
videos of you falling and stuff. So whatever, I mean, I can play around with that because I really have no ego. I'm
So
fine with
I
making
know
myself look
it's just crazy. All that, yeah, it's crazy what the world is today.
dumb. I know.
The other person, the other artist that we know is also Chris Connolly, and I know you've done a video
Yeah.
with him, the unknowing
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah, actually, that video that song, "Unknowing Muse" appears on my duet EP, and Jim Simonic did a duet with me, and Mike Reedy did a duet with me, and, that, um that video was, I believe Joe Whittaker's video. So that's another person who I've worked with on videos, so I wanna recognize him too.
And
And
great.
that was wonder and Joe's great, and, it's always a wonderful experience, to be able to work with someone like Chris Connolly because not only is he,
Mhm.
like, such an amazingly talented person, but he's such a great guy,
And he's great.
he's
He's a great boy.
really, really nice. Yeah, so, we went and saw him in Chicago in April. He did a record release for his Eulogy to Krista
Yeah, yeah,
album,
yeah. Yeah.
and I got to chat with him a little bit then, and just a super person.
Yeah, and I did interview him as well on the same
Yeah,
topic and stuff on my YouTube channel as well.
yeah.
And of course Ken on
Mhm.
Worldwide Voice. Yeah, which
Oh, right, so
yeah,
Ken Magerman did vocals, yeah, really, really powerful vocals on that song. I just it would not sound like it does without him.
yeah.
And one of these days, I'm going to try and get him on stage with me to do because we do that song live, and I would love to have him on stage with me to do that song. We haven't been able to do that. I haven't really played anywhere near where he is, um, in the past year or 2, but, I'm hoping to. So,
Yeah, so
with it
big
in
big shout
24.
big
So
shout out
hopefully
to
we can get him on there.
yeah, big shout out to Sounds and Shadows.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
he
absolutely.
has a Facebook page where he gives artists or anyone just a platform
Yeah.
to promote their whatever record or
It
or
and
interview.
and he spends a lot of time on that, not just the group, but on the Sounds and Shadow magazine that he does, and he does, the reviews,
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
really dedicates a lot of
interviews.
time to pumping up the scene.
Yeah,
So, we as artists and friends all appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. So big shout out to him. Sometimes I post there, and
Mhm.
I can't always like everything because I don't. Sometimes you don't see it, right?
Yeah,
And you don't have time to really go on like as often as I could because working and all that. But it's always appreciated. Yeah,
yeah.
and but it's so good to have you in the show. And big shout out to Ethan Marolis who's always amazing and finding and putting artists my way and doing this interview with you um I'm looking for so this the latest album. Let's talk about that again. So just somebody wanted to reach out to you. I know you have a link tree. I mean you have
Yes.
videos and you're like you mentioned. So Fortune was out in September, right? In
Yep.
Distortion Productions, and people can actually go to the distortionprog.com
.com.
and
Yep,
then
they can go there for the album, they can go to Bandcamp for the album.
Mhm.
If you go to Distortion, then you can, get a lot of information on some of the other bands there who are really great. So, I would encourage people to do that. I also wanted to give Ethan a shout out, not just for being a great promo guy, because he works with us at Distortion, but he is also on that Be One of Us CD, the Lost Boys covers. He does People Are Strange with Adoration Destroyed. And, he does the vocals, and they are
He's got a great voice.
fantastic.
I know he's got a great
They
voice.
are fantastic,
And
yeah, so and anyone looking, thinking about whether or not to get that CD, just get it. It's
yeah,
really good.
I'm gonna I'm gonna ask him about that. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but he loves cars, like really beautiful, like vintage cars.
mhm.
Yeah, and I was really amazed what he posted the other time. I don't know if he's, I'm sure he does. It's probably still around. Like it's like a vintage, beautiful car. I think he had two or something like that. But yeah. Well, gosh, thank you so much for joining me, Sapphira Vee.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to sharing this, and of course we'll follow you, and I think we're friends on TikTok, right? And
I think we are,
yeah,
yeah.
and I know we are in Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter. So I'm looking forward to more of your music, and hopefully you'll come to Hawaii one of these days, or I'll
Oh,
see
I
you in New
hope.
York.
It would be nice. It'd be really nice to take a little break and go to Hawaii, get out of, Western New York. But thank you so much for having me. As you know, I love chatting, and, love
Chat
connecting with
again.
other people, in the scene who are looking to support the artists. We all really appreciate that.
Always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.